Welcome again to another episode of Grassroot Basketball Academy. Very delighted to have you back with me here. This is end of November here. It's winding down to Christmas time. Everybody is trying to get their Christmas shopping up and going, and it's just one of those time of year that everybody is trying to hustle and bustle and get the Christmas stuff done. But regardless of all that's going on, I am excited to bring you guys another episode of this journey of ours, Grassroot Basketball Academy. Also, some collaboration in effect where we are putting on a fundraising dinner for Hurricane Melissa's efforts. This would be something that we will announce over the next couple of months. We will have a lot of posters going up. Shout out to Chubby's Barbecue and Jerk restaurant. They're going to be one of our supporters in regards to the fundraising dinner. We have had many conversation about this, and if you want to know more, as I always give you guys info, reach out to me at 403-585-6100, and I'll have more in details and more to come in the future. With that being said, let's get into one of our few last episode to count down 2025. I'll be pushing out more episode as the time goes on. I want to have you guys tune in, follow our video podcast that we put out back on November 11th. It has been a very strenuous time over the last month. So we're trying to push out as much content. We're trying to push out as much information. So please stay tuned for upcoming videos and highlights that are going to reflect our journey. Because one of the things we want to announce, and you'll see posters on our Facebook page, is our upcoming annual basketball tournament on February 15th. This is going to be kind of starting back to the original dates that we used to have in February, and we are making this announcement now because we want everybody to be ready for right after Christmas to get in that New Year's resolution frame of mind and get in shape and so on. So a few announcement here we wanna chop up is come next week, I'm happy to announce that I get the opportunity to coach my son again and watch my daughter grow in her basketball journey. That's gonna be Array and Roman, and I'm excited to see how they're gonna perform under pressure because the last year didn't do well as a coach because I couldn't commit all my time to it. But this year, I'm going to try to commit most of my time that I have. I don't have a lot of free time, but I'm going to make sure I commit a lot of time, a lot of skill development with them and give them the opportunity to shine. Because last year, I think I failed at that, and I was sitting on the sideline watching my son play because I just couldn't keep up. And with how September came in, I understand why that was, because I didn't do my due diligence to keep up with what he was doing, what he needs to work on. And in game, I can see, if you watch our last episode, our last video, you can see that he has a lot of skill development to go, but his defense is getting way better. It's one of those things he needs to work on and get better at. But I find the more you put him in those situations to grow, put him in those situations to get better, the more he's gonna excel at it. And if you don't give him the chance to challenge his current ability to grow, he won't get better at what he needs to work on. So I'm gonna have the garage very busy this winter. And yeah, we're in the winter months. Like a day like today, it is minus 25. It's not for the faint of heart. So for all my Canadians out there that know what that feels like, yeah, we're in for a nice winter here. So find things to do, keep active. Don't be a couch potato, and try to get through this winter in one piece. Happy to say I haven't wiped out yet. I'm glad to say that because it hurts when you wipe out. So I don't want to get into that situation where fall on my butt or fall on my face because not proper footwear or not paying attention to the icy spots. But that's neither here nor there. But stay tuned for upcoming events that we're putting on. We're gonna try to have like a holiday drop-in session again. I didn't get to do one middle of November here, but I'm gonna try to pencil down something that I can get some of the kids to come out before the Christmas festivities roll around, because it's nice to have some type of activity that you can do and feel as if you're working on your skill, you're sharpening those tools in your toolkit, right? So when you go on the court and you realize that, oh, this is what coach was working on with me, and so on. So another thing I want to announce, I was able to play my first men's league game on Wednesday of this past week here, and shout out to the Ascend basketball team. My first game, men's league game, playing with them in Division 1. We actually won the game and we trailed for the first 2 quarters, but as soon as we kind of get our gears together, we got a win, and I was happy to be a part of that win because these guys were fighting tooth and nail to get that win, and I know it was a hard thing to accomplish because the guys that we were playing against, from what I can see, first time playing against some of these guys, they're shooters. Like, some of the shots were ridiculous, right? And they were making buckets, and if you leave them open, hand down, man down. You know what I mean? So I tip my hat off to the team that hold that loss, but they were playing ball. They were playing ball a little bit too aggressive, and we can't really rely on not the coach, but the referees to win the game. We have to just dig deep and be like, you know what? We don't need anybody to rescue us. We're going to take over the game, and wherever we see a weak point, we're going to attack that weak point and get buckets. And, after we start making a couple threes, penetrating the middle, and what we couldn't make as a layup or a floater, we kick it out to the shooters, and we got a couple buckets that way. And we were up 12 points. After trailing behind, I think at one point we trailed behind about 15 points. We came back and took the lead and led for 12, 15 points ourselves right down until the 4th quarter. And they came within 6, but we were like, no, we're not giving up this game. So we start scoring buckets again. Go up 8, go up 9 points, and they score another 3, ridiculous 3. So bring it back within 6, and I was like, all right, let's close this game. Because we had the win. We know we could taste the win. And we were like, you know what? We're not going to give up this game. We're not going to just choke on the pressure. We're going to hold the game at bay and win the game in fine fashion. I go back to, if you want to go back down memory lane, let's go back to when the Spurs beat the stacked team, Miami Heat. I watched that game and I was like, I can't believe these guys use fundamental basketball and took over the game. They were down and out. Everybody, said that, oh, they're not going to win this game. They're going to get sweep, and they lost the year before to the same team. And I'm telling you, fundamental basketball and good defense always win you games. Always. I can tell you that from my experience playing ball. I can tell you that from my experience watching professional more than myself playing ball and take over games in the last, it's like crunch time minutes, it took over games. So from my experience and whoever have seen those games where they can tell that, look, these guys had that look in their eyes like, we're not losing this game. No matter what, we could be down 20. We're not losing this game. And they fight their way back all the way to taking the game. And I think in a game 6, I think they beat the Miami Heat in a game 6. So hats off to those guys. And, back then it was the team to beat. And kind of the same thing with, I think, when Dallas played against the Miami Heat back then. They were making fun of Dirk Nowitzki, and he beat them. They thought he wasn't sick, but that was his flu game, I believe. That was Dirk Nowitzki's flu game. And he came back and beat them in fine fashion. So, when somebody's down in a game, or even if they're down 30, don't count them out, because they can claw their way back to a victory. That's just my 2 cents. That's what I've seen over the years. That's what I've witnessed myself. And in the spirit of competition, basketball is a game of runs. Like, no cap, basketball is a game of runs. So whoever can make the most runs in a quarter, those guys will win either in the third quarter or the fourth quarter. So every quarter, some quarters are 12-minute quarters. You have 12 minutes to equalize the scoreboard or take over the game. Because you can lock a team down to the point where they can't score, and the morale of the team will just fall apart. And I can tell that in our own game, because, like I said, we were trailing. We were trailing by, I think the most we were trailing at like 15, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm telling you, when I look at the scoreboard at the end of the game, and we still won by, I think, 6 or 7, I'm telling you, it's always about which team wants it more. I think I can leave the winning of that game on that. Which team wants it more is the team that's going to take over and win. So with that being said, I'm happy to kind of give some updates on health as well. I felt great running out there. I actually went for a good staircase run that day, and I was impressed how my lungs was keeping up, because I haven't run since I was hospitalized in September. And coming up on my 90-day checkup after being in the hospital, I felt great. I felt great throughout the game. I didn't feel any stitching pain or anything. It's just a matter of doing more running, doing more cycling. I've been hitting the spin bike as much as I can. Time permits, that is. And I'm very thankful that the results are good. Now I need to, intermittent fast some more, keep a good diet, and get the cardio back on board, because cardio is a big part of this thing where we get older and we think, we don't need a cardio. Cardio and stretching, I should say. Cardio and stretching is a big part of my recovery. And with doing a lot of hiking, after being out of the hospital, we had a great fall. Like, the fall season was pretty good, where we didn't get snow until it was later on, and I hiked places that I never dreamed I would hike. And my wife kind of pushed me on that too, so I'm thankful for the extra push for hiking. I think we hiked a 7-kilometer trail, then we hiked another, I think, 8 or 9-kilometer trail, and one of our biggest highlight was to hike a spot called Logan's Pass in Montana. And that was, I can tell you that I was out of breath hiking that trail, and I had my son on my neck the entire time up the hill. And coming back down, it was a breeze, because it's like when you hike the peak of the trail, and you're gasping for, let me take a breather here. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep climbing this mountain, because your journey is not done until you get to the top. And we got to the top. And even when we got to the top, we've seen a guy that, this journey was too short for me. Let me go this direction and hike up to the peak of the mountain that people shouldn't go off the path and go. This guy was up there in his runners, not even proper footwear, and hiking up to the I think the peak of the Logan's Pass, because the pass goes up as high as the mountain goes. But then you have another section of the mountain. Some people that are, very enthusiastic will hike up to the peak of the mountain, where it's almost like he's trying to hike the mountain top, the mountain peak, which the path doesn't give you that option to go. The path to go down to the river was blocked off. I don't know if they were doing some type of reno on it before the winter season kicked in for the Montana area in the States. But I can tell you that the guy that I saw hiking up the side of the hill, it looks like, I don't mean to be disrespectful, it looked like this guy was a mountain goat climbing the mountain off the path that was laid in front of him. And hats off to him, because I wish I had that type of energy to be like, you know what? We hiked to the top of where the pass allows. I'm going to go a little bit further. I'll meet you guys back at the bottom. No, that wasn't me. On that day, that wasn't me. But in the future, when we take the kids there again, it is a long drive to get to the top of that mountain, which was really amazing. However, when you get to the top of that mountain and you hike, say you hike it at plus 20 or plus 30, you're going to be drenched coming back down that mountain. I can tell you that for a fact. However, we went there in the fall season, and it was great, and we appreciate the time that we had. And by the time we got back to the bottom of the mountain, it was time to go home, have supper, and went to bed. Because by the time we get home, home as in the campground that we were staying, I was done for. The legs were tired. I did a little bit of stretch, and I was ready for bed. And I slept like a baby, because just hiking up that mountain alone with, like, call it like a 30-pound or even a 25-pound baby on your shoulders, it is a workout and a half. I can guarantee that. Anybody that can do that as I did, and I know a lot of dads would do that with their younger ones, hats off to you, because it wasn't easy. I can tell you from my experience, it wasn't easy. But I got it done, and I was happy that I got it done. And I was dragging my feet to go. That's the thing. That's the thing that I remember. I was dragging my feet to go, and I was like, I don't really feel like I want to go. And my wife was like, we're going. And it's that type of encouragement you need sometimes to get your butt off the couch, get your butt off being lazy or on the sideline, and get your butt in gear to go. So I was very thankful for the fact that I got pushed to go, and we got that experience, and that experience was amazing. We had a bunch of pictures that we took, and I gotta say, like, just being out in that environment, never been there before, and get to experience that time with the family was a blessing in disguise. Because after coming back, you actually felt a sense of being like depressed. Like, why did I have to cut the trip short? Cutting the trip short was like a depressing feeling. But I was like, you know what? It's also a motivation to say, I can go back and even make it better the next time I go back, or hike another mountain when I go back. Because there's other places you could hike, but because of the lack of time, I wasn't able to go and hike those other spots. But looking back on, hindsight, next time we go, we should go and hike other places. Like, okay, we hike Logan's Pass. Which other pass we can hike to make it, like, okay, this is the next one on the list. This is the next one on the bucket list. And before long, maybe we can hike somewhere in the Grand Canyon. That's kind of something on my list. And I remember writing it down with the kids a couple of years ago, and it would be something great to do as a family, I think. Even drive to the Grand Canyon would be fun. But just keep this in mind, guys. Whatever we procrastinate about, or whatever we don't take action on, is action that was not taken, or action that was not executed. So in a roundabout way, I'm trying to say, just like in a game, when you have a way to take over the game, I'm going to end this with a basketball quote. If you don't take action in winning your game, you're going to leave yourself holding that loss and say, if I knew better, I would have done this, I would have done this. And that would be too late for you to apply the knowledge that you learn in the state that you lost the game, to learn that knowledge. But if you can see that knowledge in real time while the game is going, and can help on the defensive side, or you can help on the offensive side to get your team a win, then hats off to you. And like I said, in the game, I wasn't 100% because my first game back, but it's just figuring out what I need to work on. What I do need to work on, I know I'm going to get fouled in the paint. I need to work on scoring those free throws. I had my first shot, which I was happy that it went in, but then I got a foul in the paint and I missed both free throws. I didn't even make the free throws. I was in my own head when I should make those free throws. But again, learning opportunity. Things that I can look back on and I can learn from and move forward. So I'll leave you guys with this. Wherever you guys are tuning in from, you could be anywhere in the world. You could be anywhere in the atmosphere. You could be anywhere in the universe. Thank you for tuning in to Grassroot Basketball Academy. And please, please, please leave your feedbacks. Reach out to us. Leave us an email if you like. And I'll leave the email in the description of this podcast. And I look forward to hear you guys' feedback, to hear you guys' comments, concern, opportunities that you'd like to have. And as I said, keep in mind for further updates about our fourth basketball tournament. We're going to be hosting it in the same area. That would be Penhole Multiplex. Stay tuned for further updates. Stay tuned to our Facebook page. We'll have all the info on the tournament and the fundraising dinner coming up. And yeah, however way you can participate in this journey with us, please do. And we look forward to hear from you in the near future. Look for more podcasts coming out. And I thank you for your time. Thank you for sticking it with us for 2025. A few more podcasts for the end of the year. And we look forward in bringing you another one. Thank you guys, and stay blessed, stay warm if you're in Canada. Shout out to my Jamaican folks. I know you guys are resilient, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.